up, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. I'm back in Oregon and decided to do something a little bit different besides going and drifting with the boys, aka Josh right here. Say what's up.
Hello, what's up? What's up?
Usually I'll be going to Spirit Peaks with him and Anna and Jacob and all of them. But this is the car that's been like the main topic of every drift video so far.
The last two. Just the last two.
Last two I posted up here. And thought about, let's just do an interview. My homie gave me the idea for it. Shout out Cy. I'll put his channel in the description down below. He makes great content with his stock S13. And he also makes funny ass skits. So go check that out. Now let's just get right into it. I'll have Josh introduce himself.
Hello, my name is Josh Jones. My first interview ever, so if I say anything bad, don't hold it against me.
Fair enough. That's fair. All right, let's hop right into it. What car do you drift and why?
Well, as you guys might have seen in the past couple videos, this is currently the Drift Baby. It's not my only one. I do also have a 240 SX. It's a S13 coupe. But this car is what's been going on for about the last year. And I just always liked third gen Camaros. I've had a couple of them in the past, just as dailies and stuff to play around with. But before this car, I had a third gen Firebird. It was a Trans Am, 1989, and I used to drift that one back at Park during the Park days. RIP.
Yeah.
And when Park shut down, right before that, I got into an accident on the track. It wasn't necessarily anything that would kill the car, but I did really want to switch over from a Firebird to a Camaro just because of like the way they look. I like them a little bit better, at least for the third gens. So once Park shut down, I decided that I had enough free time to pull the trigger since we weren't going to be hitting the track anymore. So I started looking for this, and I already had stuff compiled for an LS swap. So, you know, during the off season, you know, a couple years, I guess, that we weren't at Park, and we took a break, that's when I put this together.
What motor did you put in?
So this one specifically is an LM7 5.3 liter. It's in the LS family. It's just out of a like 02 pickup or something. But I tore that down and did some stuff to it. But yeah.
That's sick. So what exactly got you into drifting?
What got me into drifting was probably my cousin Ty. Because
shout out, Ty.
Yeah, shout out. Back in high school and all that, I wasn't really into it much, very much into American Muscle, which obviously I still am. But the first time...
The bird in the back.
Oh, yeah. The first time that I went drifting was because my cousin Ty invited us out to Park. And his buddy, Christopher, shout out to him, I guess, too.
Chris, yeah.
And Driftifer. Follow him on Instagram.
I'll put his Instagram in the description down below, too.
But I went to an event just to spectate, watch them, and pretty much as soon as I got there, I was like, okay, I'm building the car. It's happening.
Yeah.
So.
It's been fun ever since you got this thing.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's another...
Little issues in the beginning,
yeah,
but
for sure.
Ultimately okay.
I also think that's why I also called this a bird, because your last one was a bird.
Yeah, exactly. Well, people thought that one was LS swap too.
What was in it?
It was a small block.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was just a Gen 1 small block, but just based on the sound and the fact that I was there, everybody was like, whoa, we got an LS block. No, it's a small block.
Do you prefer your LS over the small block?
Yeah. I mean, I love small blocks to death. I mean, they're simple, they're easy to build. So are LSs. LSs just get more power easier, and, you know, you can stand the abuse a little bit better. Not to say that small blocks can't, because they definitely are stout motors, but out of the box, you're already starting with more power to go with, and it's easier to start with something that's already fuel injected.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Because if you have a carburetor, you have to deal with carburetor issues and stuff and fuel slosh on the track. So it's just easier to start off with fuel injection.
Maybe one day I'll get an LS.
Yeah?
This guy's been hounding me on putting an LS in my Z since it's blown up.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's the way to go, but I will not hop on the train that everybody says, oh, do an LS swap. It'll cost you $1,000. Like, no, it won't.
Not.
Like, sure, you can cut corners, you can go get a junkyard motor and just not even open it and throw it in. It's not that stuff that really adds up. It's the swap parts mounts, oil pan, driveline, and then all the little stuff. You got to figure out accessories and brackets and all that jazz. Normally, the oil pan is one of the more expensive things, just depending on what kind of car you have. I mean, you can go get 240 LS swap brackets on eBay for like $75, but then the oil pan kit is probably $800. So that's where the money ends up going. And the transmission.
I was going to say,
too.
if you don't have the transmission, you're really out
Exactly.
of luck.
Exactly. Luckily, on this one, I'm running a T56. You know, brand new, fresh, got it rebuilt, everything. So I shouldn't be having any problems with that for quite a while, I hope.
What else do you have in this thing right now, parts-wise?
Parts-wise, for the engine alone, I left pretty simple. I left the short block alone. And I'm just running an aftermarket camshaft. It's a little under 600 lift, and I got valve springs, hardened push rods, and that's pretty much it. Headers, basic stuff, but it's making good power.
Hey, don't sleep on the exhaust. Come on now.
Okay, all right.
Come on.
It has a dual 3-inch Speed Engineering exhaust. Sorry guys, it doesn't ship to California, but it is one of the only exhausts on the market that is for this car. It's actually meant for the 4th gen Camaros and Firebirds, but the rear half of it bolts on. So I made a custom Y pipe and got that all connected there. I had some exhaust fatalities over the last year.
Yeah.
It started off real good. It was nice, 2.5-inch dual exhaust. Put some work into it, made it, but I did rush a little bit because I had to get the car to the dyno and then down to a Medford event. And throughout the year, getting scraped and banged and whatever, eventually it broke a hanger, drug on the ground, and then got ripped off. Yeah. So I put it back on, but it got ripped off pretty much every event after that. So, you know, we made a change.
That's fair. What about the wheels?
The wheels. Okay.
Tell them about the collection you have.
I have a large number of wheels. The easiest one that I go for is like C5 Corvette wheels. It's a 17-18 staggered combo, and I have probably 4 or 5 sets of those ones. You know, they come with good deals, especially if I get them right off a Corvette. They come with tires that I can use right on the track. I don't have to worry about that. And then I have 1 set of BMW M parallel wheels. Those seem to be the fan favorite.
God damn right.
But I haven't committed to multiple sets yet or anything
I've yet
like
to
that.
see this on all 4.
I use them on the rear mostly. They're 18 by 9.5. So with my angle kit and suspension setup on this thing, a 9.5 in the front would rub pretty hard.
That's fair. Oh, tell them like there's not a big aftermarket support in drifting with this car, so you fabbed everything on this yourself.
Yeah. So for drifting and 3rd gens, there's nothing. Not a single drift part is made for a 3rd gen Camaro. That was a crude realization after I started my last 3rd gen, the Firebird. So everything on here is made by me or with the assistance of my friends. So it has a custom angle kit. It's nothing that's on the market. I think this is like the 2nd or 3rd one that I've made, just kind of testing the waters, making small changes here and there. But I have custom lower extended control arms with shortened knuckles. That's the basis to most angle kits. But this car specifically, all of the 3rd gens, they don't have rack and pinion steering like a lot of newer stuff does, like the 240, the Z, Mustangs. They all have rack and pinion steering. So the steering dynamics are a little bit different on this car. On this car, it uses traditional style like Saginaw steering box. So it has a steering box instead of rack and pinion, and then all the linkages and stuff like that. My first kit that I made years ago for my Firebird that was at Park, it was the arms were a little bit different that I made and whatnot, but I had to fab up some extended tie rods because they, like I said, there's literally nothing on the market for these. So I have gone through some trial and error over the years. This kit right now that I have is the best one I've had so far. So it's doing really well. The car drives great. Like I have no issues with it whatsoever. I mean, with the Ackerman and just the way everything's set up, it's pretty reactive, and it's not like I'm fighting the car. That's my biggest thing is sometimes you get, you know, janky angle kit and you end up fighting the car, fighting against the car, and that's really not how it's going to be, you know, beneficial for you. I will say that a compliment that I get and appreciate a lot of the time is that people will be in the car with me at the track, and they'll be like, "Oh, dude, you're swinging, you're going really hard," but I'm just, you know, pretty chill in the driver's seat, just keeping it going, and I'm not, you know, grabbing the wheel a bunch and stuff like that. I like to think that I have a pretty good wheel control. And that comes with practice and equipment, you know.
You're pretty smooth with it.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. So it's great. I mean, I've had cars where I had to fight the wheel before, and you end up understeering, or it just doesn't react how you'd like. So I think that, you know, steering, suspension, alignment, all of that is really, really important. Yes, you can just, you know, throw it on and go. I'm not going to say I haven't done that before. But if you take a little bit of time and get it dialed in, I think that you'll get a better feel and driving experience out of the car.
How much angle are you getting out of that kit, would you say?
I don't know the difference of degrees. I do a video. Maybe I'll have Hamilton added into the clip
I'll drop it in.
I have a video that I think was taken while I was at full lock. So we'll throw that in there so you guys can kind of see what's going on. I do intend to do a version 3 or 4 of this kit, maybe squeeze a little bit more angle out of there, but I'm going to build it on the side because I don't want to necessarily ruin the kit that I have going on right now. I mean, it works great, it functions pretty much how I'd like it, and you know, there are times where I spin out still just like everybody else. It's not a bad thing, but it's like, you know, if I had a couple degrees more, could I have saved it? So definitely something I'm looking into. But yeah,
you've thrown a backy almost.
Allegedly, almost. I think I did it. But we don't have any third-party footage to say so. I mean, it's different. Like in the moment, I'm like I'm past 90 degrees. I'm there. But you know, sometimes I am, sometimes I'm not.
I think in the first video I filmed with you up here, we were 90 degrees.
Yeah, it was close for sure. I haven't. That's the thing, is like every time that I do that, sometimes I'm on the gas, sometimes I'm on the hydro.
Yes.
I've never actually put the clutch in and let myself roll backwards and float. So that's maybe something I'll practice or work on there.
Hop on the sim.
Well, you gotta build a better sim first.
That too. Why do you drift? You didn't really.
Why do I drift?
Yeah, you ever thought about that?
I drift just because it's fun. I mean, I really enjoy doing it. You know, while I'm out there, while I'm on the track, I mean, nothing else matters. Like, you're there, you're having a good time, and I like the community of people as a whole, and I like that my friends do it as well. So, you know, we can take a weekend and we'll be all the friends together. Nothing else matters. You don't have to worry about work or anything that's going on in your life. You just get out there, you have a good time with the people that you love. I would say that's why I drift. I mean, also I really like the sound of my car with my foot's on the floor. So
I'll drop a clip right now of you doing that.
I don't know. I mean, I feel accomplished when I can achieve more consistency or better skills out there. I mean, I feel, even though it's expensive, I feel great when I shred a set of tires.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just great to have that feeling. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't trade it for anything. I mean, I do other things that are fun, and you know, quads and dirt bikes and all that stuff, snowboard. But this is like top of the list. I wouldn't trade it for anything.
You like plan on going further with it, career, like making a career out of it, or
I
just
definitely
having fun?
don't think that it'll be a career, just because I don't have the time to put into it like that. And like, I don't know, it would be super cool to see this do something like that, just because you never see these. I mean, I've talked to people throughout the country that attempted to drive these and whatnot, and there's a handful of people that do. I'm not the only one.
Yeah.
And it's definitely cool to see, but unfortunately I feel like people don't last very long in it. because there's no bolt-on parts for it. It's not like, no offense to 40 owners, because I am one too, but you can just go buy whatever you want and bolt it right on and be done.
Yeah.
Like you can go buy angle kit coilovers and you're good to go. They make a lot of aftermarket support stuff for that. So I feel like once people get to that level where they want to make some modifications, they end up ditching the platform.
So you can't be a catalog warrior.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, this car is a mix of many different cars and things that I've pulled. The only thing that's on this car that is from 1984 is the metal. Like, I mean, that is it. It doesn't have the original engine, transmission, rear end, suspension, anything like that.
Did you do a lot of custom work with the suspension? Or
I haven't done it yet. So
okay.
The control arms and angle kit, like knuckles, everything, that all is custom. Right now, the front is sitting on ground control, adjustable coilover conversions.
Yeah.
But they just don't offer as good as spring rates. I mean, I have the stiffest spring rates that are offered for that application, which is very much better than stock. But it just doesn't have the versatility of a real coilover.
Gotcha.
So I do have building a coilover, a real coilover, in the works. I actually plan to get to it hopefully during the off season here, right here. I have all the parts for it, but I just got to take some final measurements, tack it up, make sure everything's going good. That's all for the front, and with that is also why I'm thinking about doing another angle kit, because if I no longer have to have a spring on the control arm, which is where it is now, and I'll have a real coilover, then I can narrow that control arm without worrying about the strength of it.
Gotcha.
The rear is set up with just a universal coilover setup. I actually pulled them off like a dirt track car.
Oh, wow.
And bought some springs and stuff and just made that work. It's less than ideal, but coilover options aren't really meant for drifting for this car. So if you can go and buy coilovers for them, but I would say that I've researched that quite heavily, and each version has their flaws. But ideally they're not really meant for drifting, like the spring rates and the valving of the shock and everything just really isn't meant for that.
Yeah.
So that's why I never pulled the trigger on those. Also, they're expensive.
Yeah.
I mean,
coilovers are not cheap.
well, just the front too for this car, just the front, is like $1,200.
Whoa. Damn.
Yeah. It's like, in the grand scheme of things, yeah, there's high-end coilovers that cost more than that and whatnot, but to spend $1,200 on something that isn't exactly what I want, I'm not going to bite that bullet.
Yeah, no.
So that's where building comes into it.
Would you ever, what's the word I'm looking for, make these parts available to other people that are trying to get into this platform?
You know, I have thought about that. Over the years, people have seen media of my car, whether it be this one or the last one. They've seen media of it and they've reached out. I've had people from different states, find me on Facebook or Instagram or whatever and just ask. And it's something that I've considered, but it's a little bit of the concern is like liability based, right? So
very true.
It's like if there isn't, and I have no problem, like if I made something and it broke, would I be willing to fix it or warranty it? Of course, because that's the right thing to do. But I mean, it's hard because I can get one person that, let's say they're a knucklehead, they didn't install it right, they messed something up or whatever, and then now they go and shit talk me on all the forums or Facebook groups, and then it's like you just killed. If I'm relying on that for a business, that would really hurt. And I also don't think that I'd be ready for that just because I don't have it figured out yet. Like, yes, this car is figured out. Yeah, I can turnkey, go to the track, have a great time, and you can see the results of that. But there's more to achieve. So until I get everything dialed in, I wouldn't want to do that. Once I have everything dialed in, tried, true, and tested, then I might consider it, because I did think about that. But another one of the issues is the BC portion of it. So, that's right. BC coilovers are the ones that I'm using as a base. But if I were to do this, I would definitely have to reach out to them and ask if I could get, I'd have to become a dealer for that and get all these parts because there's no bolt-on coilover option from them.
Yeah.
So it is custom, and having to purchase every individual part of a coilover separate from an actual coilover, it adds up quite a bit more. So once I get everything built and finished on there, we'll see. That's not going to be for a couple of years.
Yeah.
Not to say mine's not going to be done for a couple of years, but I mean like to get real test time and everything dialed in to where I can confidently say like this is recreatable, it's bolt-on, because that's essentially what people would want. If they have to do modifications to their car, that's already where they've already hit the road and they don't want to do it anymore. So it'd really have to be a genuine bolt-in option. So we'll see. No, not anytime soon necessarily.
Gotcha. It'll be sick though.
Yeah.
This will definitely put this chassis on the map for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I've gotten some pretty good feedback about it. There's another guy at Spirits that has one. He's come up and we've chatted before.
I saw that last event.
Yeah, yep, the red one was there. And then there's some other people throughout the country that have hit me up. Villains, they have one.
Yep, that's right.
I don't know. I don't think I've seen it in person or anything.
It's Jason that has it.
Yeah, I don't really know anything about that car. But I've talked to him a couple times, and we kind of just talked about suspension and steering stuff, but nothing crazy. I haven't seen the car in person or anything like that.
Dylan's collab.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
That'd be pretty sick.
Cool.
That'd be pretty hype. There's that. Oh, I do see some stance cars. I know we send each other videos from like on TikTok of people.
Oh yeah.
Doing stance kits and stuff with them.
Well, that's the thing is, this will probably lead into one of your other questions. Form or function or style.
Yeah. Let's get into it.
Function or style.
Or style.
Both are great. I'm not going to say either one is bad. But definitely function first, style after.
Fair enough.
These cars, there are some people on Instagram and TikTok that have some really sweet looking ones on 3-piece wheels. They're slammed, whether they're on bags or whatever.
Yeah.
And they're really, really sweet. But function wise,
no,
it doesn't work.
No.
I mean, my car is not that low appearance wise, but those frame rails are close to the ground, man. I mean, on the exhaust is one of the big issues on this car. Is getting an exhaust routed on this car and not scraping is terrible.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look in photos and stuff of me from the track, you can zoom in and you can see my frame rails hanging down below the car, a half inch or an inch from the ground, and where the body's way up high. So once I get that dialed in, I mean, I'm good now. I'm not scraping a bunch or anything like that. I do intend to do some style stuff to the car, but once again, it's all custom.
That's fair.
They don't sell body kits for this car, at least none that look good.
Yeah.
There is a company that makes like a fiberglass front bumper here and there, but I just don't necessarily like the look of them. And I'm sure there was companies back in the 90s and early 2000s that were making wide bodies and stuff for it. I have thought about that. And I personally like, metal wheel flare look, not the bolt-on plastic ones, but like molded, weld-on flares. But I was gonna get some, but this car already has them like from the factory, like it has wheel arches. So it's like I could spend a lot of time in molding those and stuff. But would anybody really think it looks any different besides me? I don't know. Plus, I've already widened the track width of the car a lot, and it's like there's not a lot of room on the trailer, so
that's also
that's important that I have to be able to get it on and off of that thing.
Well, doesn't it have in the rear? I know it arches out. Is it like flat, like a 240 on the?
What do you mean?
So it bubbles out and then it comes straight down.
Like the wheel arch?
Yeah.
No, it's like the arch is actually out and then it kind of comes in.
Gotcha.
So the widest part of the car is the wheel arch.
I was gonna say I've seen it done before. People cut it, stretch it, and like make the arch wider, but that little lip a lot smaller.
Yeah. So I can't really do that with this. I mean, where I'd go with this is probably basic front and rear bumper and side skirts.
Yeah.
And I actually don't really like this front bumper very much. This is an early style 3rd gen front bumper. I do like the later ones more. I think the coolest one is the 92 RS Camaro.
Mm-hmm.
I think they have the biggest factory ground effects. And they have some extra stuff in there that's not in all the other years. But even so, it's still not like that much closer to the ground.
Yeah.
And not to say that I want it super close, because I don't want to ruin it or anything like that.
A little lower, would be nicer.
But yeah, I intend to get a later model front bumper. The side skirts are probably going to be a custom thing. I was thinking about taking some 240 skirts and molding them up, but I got to see how that works. I have a set, I just haven't tacked them up real quick to see what it looks like.
That's sick.
But yeah, style is coming eventually.
Function first,
Function
people.
first.
Function first. I don't want to hear, oh yeah, I just bought a Bone Star car. I'll throw some wheels on it first.
Yeah.
No.
Yep. Slammed in wheels.
Yeah, slammed in
the
wheels.
build is over.
Do bushings. I'll yell at anyone. Do your bushings first.
I will admit that is something that needs to get done. One of the only things that I didn't change on the car is the rubber engine mounts. I don't know why. I was being lazy and I had the old engine out and stuff, and I was like, God, they're still in good shape, and they lasted like 9 months or something like that.
Dang.
But then a couple events ago, I was going, I'm like, man, the car is shaking on. Like, I was hitting rev limiter, the car was shaking pretty hard, and then I watched a video of it, and the hood was just shaking and stuff, and then I popped the hood and saw it, and the engine just clunk, 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 clunk. So it is better off poly everything. Don't go solid either.
Oh.
Solid is too much vibration.
Depends on where at in the car.
Where do you think should have a solid bushing? I think you could have solid subframe bushings.
Yes.
Subframe bushings, I'll give you that.
Yeah.
But engine and trans, don't do solids.
Poly,
yeah, exactly.
I just
exactly.
did a full solid subframe bushing in the rear.
My 240 has solid rear subframe bushings as well.
Poly everything else.
Yeah.
You'll be fine.
Agreed.
And control arms. Just do camber arms, you'll be fine. Then you can add as much camber as you want. Not the smartest idea when you're drifting.
Yeah, I mean, I could adjust these and have a bunch of camber on this.
And lose all your tire.
Yeah, exactly. I will say front tires are really important. I kept a set on for most of the year, 10 months or so, and I took them off when they still had life left because I switched over to the Accelera 651s here in the front, so I know he'll love that.
Accelera, baby.
Before that, I was running the PHIRs, and I mean, even I got a smaller size tire because I was having some rubbing issues.
Yeah.
And I did it just because I had to get to an event, and I just didn't want to have any rubbing issues. So I got a 215.
Mm-hmm.
I knew that would not rub anything because it's just a tiny tire.
Yeah.
And I intended to take it off afterwards, after that one day, but it did really well. I mean, even with the weight of this car and just throwing it around, I very, very rarely have understeer problems, even in the rain and stuff like that. Now I'm running a 225 in the front. It's a pretty big difference front to rear. I mean, the minimum that I would run in the rear is a 245, but I prefer to be 255, 65. I've run up to a 275 before, maybe a 285 possibly, so it is a big difference from front to rear. But oddly enough, those accelerators give really good grip in the front, so
Goddamn
I
right
haven't
they
had any
do.
issues.
What's on it right now? You got
651.
Oh, sick.
Yeah. Yep.
If you want tires, go buy Accelera tires. 651s or 351s too. They don't last that long. All right, they get the 651s. They last a lot longer. Anyone will say that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, even the pros,
Even the
have
pros,
interviews,
yeah.
they will tell you that, although they do last a good amount of time, there's not as much grip. That was my gripe with them, I'll be honest.
Yeah.
I don't think they're a terrible tire. They just didn't work out for me. One of my downfalls is the fact that my car has a solid rear axle, so I can't have any alignment adjustment in the rear. So my main issue at Spirit Peaks is that the driver's side outside of the tire it just tanks most of the wear. I mean, you're going to wear that spot out more than anything else. So unfortunately, I did try and heat cycle them. I did an event, couple laps, and then ended the day, came back another day and tried them out again. But ultimately, that is where it failed.
I said you blew those 350.
It did. It chunked and blew, delambed. But that doesn't mean it's not right for your car.
That's fair.
They do run a little wide, I've heard. So I had two 45s. They seem to fit a little bit wider than normal. But that's not really an issue for me because I've run wider tires than that.
Yeah.
But just with the fact that they didn't grip as well as some of the other stuff, I would really have to run a wider one, which there you get more expensive and stuff. So I haven't given it a second try. Not that I'm opposed to it, but I do really like the PHI, PHIR stuff. I also do Ironmans on the back.
Yeah.
So
for people that don't run Acceleras or they're not going to get into Accelera, what would be like a good starter tire brand?
I mean Ironman. I mean I think that Acceleras are a starter tire brand for anybody. You're just not going to get the top of the line ones.
Yeah,
right?
that's fair.
So you can go and get the PHI, PHIR, or the R2s, and you'll be just fine. I mean, they're a good tire. I ran them on my 240 also, and they're not, they're pretty cost effective. You're not really going to find stuff that's better than that cost wise. I have run other things like Lexani ones; those are pretty cheap, and Ironmans as well. And I don't have any complaints about them. There are a couple tire brands that I'd stay away from, like just because something's from Amazon doesn't mean it's bad, because you can buy these brands on Amazon.
Very true.
But I had some Lionhearts, and those chunked really bad and blew. But yeah, I mean, there's enough info out there where if you go check a Facebook group or a forum or something like that, I'm sure that somebody's tried them before. Like, it's very unlikely that nobody has spun that kind of tire before. But yeah, I would just start off with the PHI, PHRs. They good heat cycle them is the biggest thing. I mean, sometimes I get in the moment, and I'll be like, no, I'm just gonna keep going, and then I go until I blow my tires, and I know that if I got off and cooled them down and went again, I would have gotten more laps out of them. I bring a pump sprayer to the track now to cool them down, and that does make a big difference. So I have to support the cool down your tires comment.
If you don't have a water pit at your track, bring a little water sprayer.
Yeah, at Home Depot, I think it's like $15. It's like a 2-gallon pump sprayer, and it's been great. I mean, I use it to cool down my tires. I usually get my tires really hot, so it takes quite a bit of water to cool them down again. But with doing that, I have seen extended tire life. I've also used that pump sprayer to put out a couple car fires and fires at the track. Yeah, it helps out here and there.
That's great. So what would you also recommend for someone getting into drifting?
Somebody getting into drifting, I would say don't overbuild your car before you know if you even like it. And I think that you can get a car that's seemingly a good seat time car. I mean, there's quite a few options. I mean, I will say BMWs, you can get in and go, but your repair costs are going to be there, right? BMWs have certain things they like to blow up.
Very true.
If you can work on your own car, great. Your costs aren't going to be that much. If you have to take it to a shop,
you're screwed.
Then you're screwed cost-wise on that. But BMWs are an option. 350Zs, they're a good option as well.
Highly recommend.
Medium recommend. I drove his with a blown axle, so I don't have a full opinion on it.
Yeah, he broke my axle, so.
Mustangs are good too. My cousin and Chris, they both have Mustangs, V6 and V8. They do great. So I would just say, like, get out there, and the seat time's the biggest thing. Get out there and try it. Don't worry about an angle kit and a racing seat and harnesses and stuff. As long as your car is sound, that it's not going to break, fall apart on the track, please tighten your lug nuts, use a torque wrench. Get out there, see how you like it.
You don't need a hydro either.
You don't need a hydro to start. I think that if you become reliant on the hydro, then you're going to limit your own learning process. I mean, you can watch in the videos that Hamilton takes, but I pulled the
Hardly
hydro
ever.
a couple times.
Yeah.
But it's not overly necessary. It helps with entry, and it helps with, kind of adjusting your position if you're in a tandem and stuff like that. Maybe hold some corners that you couldn't do with all throttle. But you shouldn't rely on it for sure. I mean, welded diff is the main thing. Start with the welded diff.
Yeah.
If you have a limited slip, sure, if
Be my
it's strong,
guest.
go try it out. But you're going to want to weld it because it's not going to last that long. I mean, it's going to get really hot. You're going to blow up the clutches in it, and then you're going to be spinning one wheel and look funny.
Yeah.
So it also helps with consistency because a welded diff is tried and true, and it's just going to be the same speed all the time. You don't have to worry about the limited slipping too much and whatnot. Make sure you get somebody that welds it that knows what they're doing. If you have a Harbor Freight flux core, you can't do it. I'm not. Maybe you did. Don't get mad, but it's just not going to last very long because I've repaired diffs that got welded with the Harbor Freight flux core on it. This one, my car personally, I did run a welded diff in my last one in my Firebird, and it took the abuse for some time, but
Keep going.
there was a 3-day event, and I was beating the beans out of it for 3 days long, and it made it my last lap, but it was the third day at the end of the day, and the diff let loose, the weld broke, and it went in there, shattered a bunch of stuff. So now on this one, I'm running a mini spool. If that's an option for you, highly recommend. It's great. If you're watching this video and you know anything about 3rd gen and 4th gen Camaros, you've probably heard the 10-bolt rear ends aren't that strong. I will say that's true, but I personally haven't had any issues with it, knock on wood. All I did to it is I just put the spool in there, make sure it's full of fluid. I haven't had any issues breaking axles. I haven't had any issues, throwing out the bearings or anything like that. The spool's doing its job. I will say I haven't checked on it since I put it in there, but it is still locked up. It doesn't offer me any weird noises or anything like that. And the main part of it is, like, most of the people that say you're going to break them is they're doing, whether it's autocross or drag or something like that. You do a bunch of hard launches, sure.
It's going to break.
That's when all the stress is on all the components. For drifting, breaking it loose is stressful for it. But once the tires are spinning, it's not terrible.
Yeah.
It's not terrible for it. But back to what I was saying, if you're starting off, get out there on the track, try it out. You can always upgrade as you go. A project car is never really done. I do stuff to this car in between every event. I could have no issues at an event, and I'm going to come home and still want to try something new.
Yeah.
And that's part of the process that I enjoy. But if you're starting out, go get some tires, go get some used tires, like whatever can get you on the track. Don't worry about what other people are saying or thinking. Get out there for you.
At the end of the day, everyone's there for the same reason. Everyone has to start at the same point that you're starting at. So go get what you're going through.
Yeah, everyone sucks in the beginning. Don't worry about spinning out. Be mindful of other people on the track. I'm not going to say don't do that. Have some track etiquette, please.
Don't spin out and stay on the gas. Create a smoke show.
Most of the time.
Most of the time.
I'm not saying I don't do that sometimes. It's only for a quick recovery. But if you can turn your spin out into a 360 and then keep going, sure, by all means. But if you're spun out and just parked, don't just do that and then smoke screen the whole place.
Get off throttle if you go off track.
Yeah.
If there's grass there.
Yeah.
Don't be bringing a bunch of dirt back on the track because then everyone's gonna be upset.
Even at Spirits, there's some debris off the track.
Yeah.
Debris has stabbed my tire before, and this last event, debris flew up and hit my gas tank. Exactly. So I have a pinhole leak somewhere there now. Just get out and try it. That's all I got to say on that one.
Have fun. It's not that serious.
Yeah. Don't be afraid. Hit the skid pad if you need to.
Yes.
But also don't hit the skid pad.
Don't
get a feel for your car, and then hit the track. If you think you're gonna master drifting on the skid pad, it's not happening. You can only do so many donuts and figure eights.
That's all.
Once you get a feel for your car, hit the track. ask the person that's putting you on track, ask the flagger for some extra room and stuff. If you're uncomfortable, get out of the way. But that's a place to try.
Yeah, that's very true. I mean, the skid pad will just give you a technique of how to shift.
Yeah, it's how to. I feel like the skid pad is about feeling your car,
yeah,
and getting comfortable with your car, and then you have to get on the track.
Pretty much.
You know, if you're good, and you did a bunch of modifications to your car, and you didn't go out and street drift it, then great. You can go test it on the skid pad and stuff like that. But it's not a long-term solution.
Shout out to the people that get their car done before the event and able to test their car.
I have a real bad habit of finishing it the night before and then going straight there and then just winging it.
A buddy of ours, we're doing his motor the day of the event.
Yep. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
That was hilarious. What else? I lost my train of thought. Oh, what has drifting taught you? What's been some good life lessons from drifting?
Oh, life lessons from drifting.
Any lessons in general?
Anything in general? I mean, there's a lot of life lessons to be had. I think that anybody can be good at anything with enough practice. I mean, I've seen people that I'm like, can you even drive a car? And then they can get really good. I mean, everything's about practice. And if you set your mind to it and put time and effort into learning, another lesson that me personally, that I would like to say is I'm not necessarily a respect all builds person. And I don't mean that in a mean way. I'm not going to respect your build if you disrespect other people's builds.
Fair enough.
And I'm not going to respect your build if you didn't put work, time, and effort into it. You know, what I will respect is the person and the time and effort and money or whatever spent, even if you don't have money into it, just time and effort spent into it for the passion.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to respect a build just because you paid somebody else to do it.
Yeah, exactly.
And if you have a bad attitude, it's important to be a good community. I think that Park really was a good community, and yes, there's always outliers that are bad, and you can't let one bad person ruin the whole thing for everybody.
Exactly.
I think that Park did a really good job about that because weekend events, 2-3 day long events.
Those were the best.
It was great. It was a good community and everything. I will say that I felt like that's not been as good since then. Spirits is great, and I'm not saying it's a bad community or anything like that. I just feel like people keep to themselves a little bit more. And I've met people at Spirits that are great, and you get friends and everything like that. But I think that, and it could just be the people too. It's not the track fault or anything like that. Yeah. But it's good to have a nice community of people.
But the scene has blown up a lot more, so you're getting a lot more people in it.
Yeah, and I'm against takeovers, and it's hard because if a takeover person that I know is a takeover person comes to the track, it's hard because I'm like, do I want somebody like that at the track? Not necessarily, but at the same time, maybe they grew up and they're coming here to do it instead of takeovers. So I don't want to immediately judge them for that. But everybody needs to have a good attitude at the track. I mean, it's a passion that we all share, and you can help each other out. I mean, I get people that come to the pits and they just want to chat and hang out, and it's cool. I mean, I appreciate it. I like when people come and say hello.
Yeah.
And then, like this last event, the video clip that you guys have seen, the thumbnail for the video is my car up on the tractor getting towed off the track.
Hilarious.
And when that happened, I was, thankful enough that I walked around to a bunch of different people at the track, walked through their pits, just asking, hey, do you guys have this or that? Ultimately, I needed a ball joint nut, and I walked around, asked anybody, do you have any extra nuts and bolts, suspension hardware, stuff like that, just so I could comb through. And I did end up finding one, so I was extremely thankful for that. So just be a community is really important.
Be nice.
Be nice, yeah.
That's all
I mean, it's not that serious. Like,
Yeah.
this is not pro FD. Like, we don't need to be getting all that serious about it.
We're out there having a good time.
Exactly.
You hit someone on the track. Sure, they might be a little upset, but we're all it's gonna happen. We all
Yeah,
know.
I mean, you signed up to be there just like them. I mean, mistakes happen. I get it. You can be upset.
But don't be like, oh, you owe me money now. Like,
Yeah,
that's not how that
exactly.
works at
I mean,
all.
it's not.
Think about how many times we've hit each other.
Yeah, I mean, we hit our friends via the last video.
Yep.
And you know, I've bumped into them over the years with different things, and most of the time I yell out the window and I'm like, "You want to finish the lap?"
Exactly.
It's really just keep it lighthearted and stuff. I've never been mad if anyone tapped me or anything. Like, sure, if I had a show car and I brought it out there, I'd be a little upset, but that was my decision to bring it out there, right? Like,
don't tandem with randoms. That's like the next thing that leads into. I guess that's fair to be upset about. If you're just out there having fun by yourself and someone comes up and puts it on your door and caves the door in, and you don't know the person.
it's hard because you gotta really look at them behind you, and that's actually funny for me because I don't have a rearview mirror on the windshield, but I like when people come up on me if they're doing well. Like, if they want to hop in, I'm hyped. I'm like, yo, yes, like, let's get this train going. But if you're, I guess, just know your level.
Yeah.
Like,
don't over push it.
Don't push it, and you know, you might get nervous if there's people in front or behind you that are really good. There's no shame in pulling off and letting somebody pass.
Check your ego at the door.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Leave it out
exactly.
there because you'll get checked really quickly and total your car or piss a lot of people off.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I've seen people think that they're the shit and they go out there and have a terrible time because they are not open to learning. They think that they're already the best and they have a hard time.
Yeah.
So.
I've had multiple people. Last person that got on my door randomly was at ABS, and he's actually now a good friend of mine.
Hey.
And he knew his limit. He didn't try to press me off track or try to door me or anything. We had a great time. If you go to Villains, that's bound to happen.
Yeah.
You're
yeah.
gonna. You haven't driven there yet.
I have not. I have not gone to Villains. I've been
Highly
invited.
recommend it.
I've been invited several times. People always say if you're not willing to crash your car, don't go there.
Yeah.
So that's
go
a
there
little
with the
hesitant.
Go there with the mentality of, I might not come back with my car.
Yeah.
All right. Another thing, don't be scared, because if you're gonna be scared, that's how stuff happens.
Yeah.
That's how you're gonna wreck your car.
I will say I have hit another driver in this car. It was my cousin Ty. He was in his Mustang, and he's always very motivational. He's always he's starting to hype people up and stuff. And he's always like, get on my door. And I was like, yeah, I'm gonna get real aggressive with it. I came around a corner and I had a pretty good amount of momentum going into it. I didn't spin out or anything like that, but he slowed way down for another reason, and we were both sideways still, so the damage was very little, next to nothing.
Yeah.
I have a little dent on my door from it, driver's door. I'm sure you've seen it in the videos.
Yeah.
His rear tire, and I got my front tire right in front of his rear tire, and they caught, and he actually drove over my tire, so it popped the ass end of his car up in the air a little bit, dented it a little bit, dented my car, and it's all good though. Nobody was mad.
It's all love at the end of the day.
It's all love. Nobody's mad. I mean, I thought it was hilarious, first of all, but it's okay.
Our homie Jacob, he has a silver E46. He finally got it out for his first event, and I got a little too close on a transition.
Oh yeah.
Did not transition.
That was a couple events in at that point, I think, but yeah, I mean, it happens.
I didn't let him transition, and my front end of the car was right at the rear of his door, and I caved.
I mean, it happens. I mean, sometimes there is an at-fault part. Sometimes it's nobody's fault.
Yeah.
Sometimes there is an at-fault party. But in retrospect, at least you learn. I mean, I hope that you learned something.
Yeah. Don't make a habit out of it.
Yeah. I mean, you admitted that you didn't pull back to let him transition.
Oh yeah, not at all. I forgot who was in the back seat. I was looking at him when they were transitioning back. I'm like, oh no.
No, I've had my fair share of close calls, but still, just know your limits.
Yeah.
And just try and drive with your friends. I mean, we all talk about it beforehand. We're like, get on my door to leave us in space, like whatever it happens to be. Obviously, I don't intend to hurt anybody's car.
Yeah.
But when you're taking a car out there, you got to know that stuff does happen.
Check the phone.
Yeah.
It just brightened up real quick.
Yeah, it's good.
Okay.
When you pause, bro, I'm like, oh no, is it stopped? Oh, you want to turn the
Yeah.
porch lights on? Sick.
Who we got left on our props?
Yeah,
here?
I'll say we kind of.
We get into rants. It's okay.
Yeah, that's the best part. Lesson, is there something you know?
Oh, no, actually, I'll hit that one.
What?
What's one life lesson that drifting has taught you? There's always room for improvement. Never. Like I said, ego's a big thing. Like, you're not the best. You aren't. I don't care if you're number one in everything. Like, you are not the best. And even if you are, there's stuff to learn. Like, you can't know everything.
Yep.
And if let's say you haven't spun out in a year, a
Yeah.
whole season, you haven't spun out, you haven't made a single mistake, you haven't touched anything, maybe you're not pushing yourself. Change cars, do something else. Like, there's always stuff to learn. For myself personally, I think there's stuff to improve and learn on the car and as a driver, because I have two different cars. The 240 is not like track ready right now. My old 240 was.
Yeah.
And different chassis drive differently. I mean, do I think a 240 is easy to drift? Yeah, but it's not necessarily like, oh, a cop out. Like, it's easy to drift because of the chassis and the steering and the way everything's set up. You can get mad angle out of a 240 because that control arm is only this big.
Z's are stupid easy to drink.
Yeah. I mean, Z's are easy to drift. I mean, BMWs too. But just never stop learning and improving.
Like my homie Nick, he's the first dude I met at ABS, and we were talking the other day, and he's like, "Bro, I'm just pushing this car to its limits." And I told him like, "Nah, bro, you can push way harder."
Yeah.
And he's like, "No," and he went to the next event, threw it in super hard, blasted off track, hit the tire wall. I love you, Nick. We laughed about it. I'm like, "Hey, bro, I told you there."
Hey,
you
at least you tried. At least you tried. I will say, me personally, the way this is set up, gear ratios, engine trans, all that stuff, I am normally in second gear. If it's raining, sure, I'll play in first gear, hit rev limiter a bunch. Occasionally, I'll hit rev limiter in second. But I have a longer set of gears in the back, and I have never hit third. I've never hit third gear in the car on the track, but I am moving in second gear. So,
they're long gears.
Yeah, exactly. Am I a little afraid to hit third? Yeah.
Click it.
Yeah,
Click it.
that'd be fast. That would be real fast, and I'm not even sure what corner I would do it on.
Front straight.
It would have to be a straight for an entry, but holy crap,
That's
I
when
would
you throw
be
it backwards.
scared. Yeah. Oh yeah. But yeah, I mean, there's always stuff to learn, always more stuff to do.
Fact. And I love you, Nick. He's a great driver. Dude puts it on everyone's door. So I had to mention that because bro absolutely blasted it off track.
Yeah, it's okay. I did that a couple events ago too. Somebody was like, "Dude, did you do that tire wall on purpose?" I was like, "No. Why would I hit that on purpose?" They're like, we're just going for it." And I was like, I forget what the reasoning was. I don't know if I blew my brakes. I had something. A brake line got pinned. Oh, it was because of motor mount. The motor mount blew out, and the engine was moving around a bunch. The factory routing of the brake line on this car was along the engine cross member, in between the engine and the cross member. And when you have motor mounts that are perfectly fine, there's a gap and it's not a big deal. But as soon as that thing blew out, every time I hit rev limiter and it was banging up and down,
Crunch.
The oil pan was coming down and smacking that brake line. So I was on the long straight and I was moving pretty fast, and I went to go tap the brake and nothing happened. And so then I'm not sure, I panicked or whatever, but ultimately I didn't slow down, so I went full speed into the tires. So it happens, but
Car's fine.
It's fine. Little front end damages from the last event, just from the tractor and stuff. But I just, you learn. I rerouted the brake line to not be there anymore, and it'll literally never happen again. So we're okay.
Well, so what? With that all being said, what do you look forward to?
What was it? Oh, what do you look forward to doing like next season, build wise? Like, what's next for you?
Next for me, the big deal for me is the suspension. I mean, I've been doing suspension steering stuff for a long time on the car. Over the years, I mean, I started that back when I had my other one. But doing coilovers, like real coilovers, is going to be like the big thing for next season. I think that it'll drastically change the way that the car handles, because you can see, I mean, I use videos to analyze how my car is reacting. Like when I'm in the car in the moment and I'm having a great time, that's fine. But from a third party perspective or camera, I can see how the suspension is acting, how much the car is leaning. I have sway bars still on the front and rear of this car, but just the weight of it and everything, it does lean pretty hard. So I can kind of dial in, see what everything is going on, and coilovers, real coilovers, are going to be the big thing for it.
What spring rates are you running right now?
Oh, let's see. I think that it's the ones that I have on right now are measured in inch pounds. The rear is 500 or 550 inch pounds, something like that. I think that's around 8K, I think. And then maybe 9K. I'd have to do the math. Mm-hmm. And the front is around, I think it's around 1,100 inch pounds, which equals out to like 18K or something like that, 17K. Damn. But the difference is there's more like geometry that goes into it. Yeah. The spring is, let's just pretend that it's 50% down of the control arm. Yeah. So if 1,100 inch pounds or 1,100 pounds compresses that spring 1 inch, that's 1 inch at the spring. That's not 1 inch at the wheel.
Gotcha.
So it's like my spring can compress 1 inch, but my tire is going to dive a lot further. And that's another one of the benefits of doing a coilover is I'm bringing that out all the way to the knuckle. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to have less downward suspension travel. Another benefit is if I want to try and do a drop where I pick up the front wheel, then it'll actually be able to do that. Because right now the suspension droop on this thing, being a divorced spring setup, is gigantic. I mean, you can see it hanging in the video. The wheels just dropped way down. But going to real coilovers, with preload, dampening adjustment, height adjustment, is really the way to go. But I'm still working on it, so I'm sure that I'll update you guys when that comes. I have no problem showing that stuff when I'm finished with it, because I'm sure people are going to ask. That is one of the questions I get a lot when people reach out to me online, is what are you running for steering and suspension? Because there's nothing on the market for it. And I think that every piece on the market for it has its own flaws, and that's just come with experience over the years of using it, or seeing it or whatnot, just my own research. And who knows, like the kit that I make could not be perfect as well, and it could take some time to dial it in. That's why I don't have a real answer on if I would ever sell it. I have sold my old angle kits before, but with the preface of like, hey, this is my old angle kit. It is not perfect, and I'd tell them what I thought about it. Whether it was like, the arm was not extended as much as I would have liked for my current wheel setup. Blah blah blah, reasons here and there. So
disclaimers.
Yeah, exactly. So
that's pretty sick. I just lost my train of thought because I was going to ask you another question. Oh, speaking of, all your fab stuff, all the things you're doing to this, when the Instagram post coming? Tell this dude in the comments you want to see stuff on Instagram from him.
I have heard that, and I do feel a little bad because at the track, some people are like, hey man, can I follow the build on Instagram? And my Instagram, I probably have not posted in over a year, and before that, it was probably another year and stuff. I just, I don't know. I'm not used to filming. I'm not used to being on camera. Stuff like that. I don't necessarily like it. I tell my mom that I can take like one picture a year.
That's it.
So she comes into town. I'm like, all right, you get one.
Make it a good one.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's just not something that I've personally been super into, but we'll kind of see how it goes, because I don't have a problem showing. I mean, that could be a thing, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't necessarily like being on camera myself, but I have no problem putting this
Yeah,
on camera.
he's-
Like I love
talk behind
I
the
love
camera.
getting media of this thing. I mean, I get excited when I see them pointing their camera at me and stuff. And the work is solid. Minus my wiring right now. But the custom stuff that I do on this thing is pretty solid, and I don't have a problem showing that. So I'll update you guys once I have some progress on the suspension portion of things.
Just put in the comments if you want me to fly back up here. Like, every time I've flown back up, this car has been on camera.
Yep. Well, all right. So what we got to do, guys? Put in the comments if you would like Hamilton to buy and keep a drift car here in Oregon, so that his channel can evolve and you can have some content up here. Like and subscribe. Get this man going.
Yeah. I gotta start making some bread. So I
Yeah,
can
exactly.
Traveling more for drifting. Come
Exactly.
up here.
I miss driving with him, and he won't bring his Z up here, so he's got to.
I will not bring it up here for a 1-day event.
So,
I'll bring it up to Medford.
Yeah.
That's at least 3-day event.
Will you bring your car up once the new track opens?
100%. That's like not even a question. I will.
Yeah.
Whenever, I don't know where it's at with opening.
I don't know. I haven't heard anything about it in a while. If you guys don't know, obviously Park shut down.
If you don't know what Park is.
Well, no, I said it's shut down.
No, I mean if they don't know what Park is.
Oh.
It's Pat's Acres. You
Yeah.
don't know what Pat's Acres is?
Look it up.
Yeah, look it up. It's a sick track.
Pat's Acres is officially and finally closed forever for drifting.
Unfortunately.
But some of the people involved in that process are looking to open a new track. The location has been leaked a little bit through videos. Well, I mean, Drift Taxi.
Shout out Brad.
He showed where it was gonna be, kind of. It's in the background.
Yeah.
But nothing's final, so I don't want to say anything or ruin anything or give any false pretense.
Yeah.
But that is going to be really big, and I want you to come up for that. What I would really love, and I hope that it's being thought of, is because that ideally is supposed to replace Park. I hope that it's a great track and all that stuff, but I hope that we can bring back weekend events, like multi-day events. And that's killer because this puppy mows through tires.
That's very true.
I mean, my truck bed is full every event, and yeah, I help bring some other people's tires sometimes too. But it eats through a lot. That's why cooling them down is a big deal. And yeah, it would have cost me a lot of money to do a 2 days long of drifting. Absolutely. Would I do it? Absolutely.
I miss those events. Park was something else. There's nothing else like it. Park events, the vibes were up. Camping with everyone, partying the night before, and then waking up and getting back at it is.
Yeah.
Nothing will ever replace that.
No, absolutely.
But I will come up for that. I'd like to come up for a Spirit event.
Well, that's the thing, is if you have your car up here,
That's true.
then that's different. You have a different car here, this basic seat-time car, and then you can get more footage on the track.
Yeah. Of actual driving.
And last video had more of just the camaraderie back behind the scenes in the pits, and that's stuff that I love the same, but driving content needs to be there too, and it can't always be my car. I mean, it could be, but it's not my channel.
Yeah.
So I want to see it on different people's cars, and we try to move the camera around and get some footage from different ones. I mean,
just
for example, the crash video,
Yeah,
there was like 3 different points
Angles,
of view
yeah,
from that
exactly.
one. But you know, you got to get a car up here and get some stuff on there too.
I miss driving up here.
You got to get on my door.
Exactly. I want to bring the Z up here. I'd love to drive the Z again. Redemption.
Well, yeah, the last event that you were here, you had a blown axle.
Blown axle.
And it was raining.
I never drove that Spirit dry.
Yeah,
Oh.
and I was having car issues that day too. My fuel pump was dead.
Both times we have tried driving together when I had the Z, you got 1 lap at Medford.
Yep, I got 1 lap at Medford, and the fuel pump took a dump.
I working on the car most of the time, power steering.
For you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that.
Cooling issues. That always knocks me
That
out.
is because the engine mounts were sauce. There was not even on there. So the engine moved forward and rubbed the hose into the fan.
That too, yeah. I mean, even now at Apple Valley, I was still overheating every event, which is annoying.
Yeah.
This new rebuild better not have
It's supposed to be fresh. So.
I'll blow the car up and I'll sell it. But yeah, I am working towards traveling more for drifting, coming back up here, drifting with the boys. That's
Dude,
the goal.
If I mean, hope and pray that that new track works out, whether it opens 2025, 2026, whatever it happens to be, whenever.
I'm coming
going
up.
to be thankful for it. But if weekend events are a thing, I am sure that people are going to come in from other states
100%.
and camp for the weekend and do stuff like that. Because it happened at Park. People flew, or I guess they didn't fly in, but they drove in.
Now they had some people flying in.
Yeah.
So from Japan.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. A lot of Japanese drivers.
So.
I miss street driving to the track. That was fun.
Yeah?
When I had the E36, my first time,
Yeah.
I street drive there.
I like the car. I miss that car.
Great car. Regret selling it. Don't regret selling the E46.
That hurts me. That hurts me.
Oh yeah, this is the guy I bought it from. He never drifted it.
I did not. I bought it for myself as a birthday present to myself. And he came by, and the first time that he saw it in the driveway, he was like, "How much you want?"
Exactly.
So, and I had no emotional attachment to it because all I had done is I got it running. It didn't run when I got it. So I got a new ECU for it. That was a problem. And it was tuned, had a pop tune on it, just like a BMW owner would do. And he wanted it, so
I took it.
It's okay because that let me, although I never drove it actually, it let me get, that money back. And
True.
If I didn't sell that car, then I wouldn't have had my 240.
Very true.
I had a white hatch 240. I got a great deal. It was crashed when I got it,
hoopty.
but it was totally a hoopty. But I had that for about a year, and I drifted it a bunch, and it was fine. But yeah, if I didn't have that, if I didn't sell that, I wouldn't have had a 240. And the only reason that I sold that 240 is because I wanted a coupe instead, and I have that now, so I'm happy with it. It's mine.
Colton's all the coupe.
Yeah, it was a shell that my friend had for a while. He ended up moving out of state and sold it, and then I bought it back. So I'm glad to have it back in the fam.
Finishing what should have been.
Oh well,
started.
the plans are different.
Yeah, that's very true.
He wanted KAT.
That's very true.
And that's just not what's going in it. That's what's in it. Is
the
the KA right now, but that's not what it's going to live with.
Stay tuned for that.
Yeah.
Best believe I'll be coming up here for that.
I'm sure.
I'm
sure.
See, I think that was. Do you feel like shit talking?
Do I feel like shit talking?
Yeah.
I mean, I'll add a little bit. You talking about that last question?
Yeah. What is one thing that bothers you in the drift scene?
What is one thing that bothers me in the drift scene?
Or multiple.
In the scene as a whole, if you would like to include this, takeovers. Takeovers piss me off. In no way connected, but whoever sells those fuck takeover stickers and sweatshirts, I don't know who does that, but buy them, love them, put them everywhere. Don't be an asshole. Don't go take over intersections and shit. And in Portland, that's a big deal because people were closing down bridges and intersections and shit and doing that. And that just gives the car community as a whole, not even just drifting, because people that aren't in the community don't separate all these things out.
Oh, yeah.
It just gives car enthusiasts a bad rap, and that is not the case. So if you're a takeover kid, unsubscribe. Get fucked. But besides that, in the drifting scene alone, I would say like just in drifting, not in cars as a whole. One thing that bothers me is when people are uninviting to newer people. Like, oh, they suck, I'm better than them. Like, thinking stuff like that's not cool. Because like I said earlier, I think that everybody can learn and do something with enough practice. So help newcomers, but at the same time, if you're a newcomer, know your place as well. Don't have shitty track etiquette and think you're better than other people as well. I mean, it should be all about community. Once again, and being nice to each other.
Check your ego at the door.
Exactly. I mean, that's one thing that bothers me is I've seen people just have giant egos and they just think they're hot shit and they don't like anybody else, and it's like, that's not really cool, man. Like, luckily we don't have too much of that up here. it's usually pretty good. Like I said, I walked around the pits asking people for hardware and stuff like that last event.
It's a rare occasion.
Yeah,
You see people like that.
yeah. So that would mainly be the main thing. If you crash, don't yell at each other and shit. Like,
get over it.
Yeah, get over it. Like, you have a drift car. It's probably not perfect anyways. Like,
Bound to happen.
yeah.
Gatekeep to an extent.
Gatekeep to an extent? What do you mean by that? Elaborate.
I know some people like to gatekeep, like where they get their parts, like body kit parts and stuff. They don't want to tell you what the actual brand of the body kit is.
That's hard because I mean, you can find everything on the internet, right? But I understand a little bit, like with this
or
car, colors, get out of here. Just share, bro. Like, I can make whatever color I want. Like, I can get it damn close. Like, you holding back that color code
just don't copy. Don't copy.
Yeah, don't copy somebody else's build.
Yeah,
build a car for you. Who cares what everybody else thinks?
I've seen people like with the fade. I know Low Origin. They're like king of their fade, and I've seen other people do it, and they get hosed for it. It's like, come on, it's like they're not copying you. They just think it's cool.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you can take it as a compliment. Like, if somebody came to the track with a blue 3rd Gen Camaro set up to drift, I would be more hyped than anything.
Yeah, like, oh,
I would
brother.
be like, dude, yeah, exactly. Like, you want to drive together? Like, it's really not that deep.
But if you copy the build, like part for part, color for color, wheels for wheels, there's an issue here.
There's an issue because that's kind of weird, but that is at the same time a compliment to the original builder that is cool.
To an extent.
To an extent,
To an
yeah,
extent.
obviously.
Be original.
Don't be a copycat. Build a car for you.
Exactly.
Don't build it for anybody else. It doesn't matter if somebody says, oh, I don't like your wheels. Oh, I don't like your color.
Exactly.
Okay, great. It's not your car.
It's not your car.
Yeah.
This is just for me. Don't be building a car for other people's taste.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, some people might get mad seeing this on the track. Ooh,
tough.
It's American. Like, ooh, I don't like the way those look. Blah blah blah. I don't really care.
Yeah.
I'm there for me, not you.
No.
I don't have many things that bother me in the drift scene. Ultimately, it's pretty good.
This is pretty chill scene.
Don't shit talk other people. Don't
keep it in the forums.
Yeah, exactly. It's, don't cause unnecessary issues with other people. If you don't like something, sure,
keep it to yourself.
Yeah, you can keep it to yourself. Like, that's one of the issues too, is there could be a product or a car or a thing or a person, and you could have 100 people and 99 of them like it and one person doesn't. The 99 of them that like it are just going to move on with their lives, and they like it and it's fine.
Yeah.
That one person, oh no.
What did it say, storage?
Yeah, storage.
Oh, no shot. That's fine. They can hear us. Talk louder.
Okay.
Yeah.
Look, I'm talking pretty loud. So
yeah.
That's the other thing. Shoot, I lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, 99 people and one person.
Yeah.
So you got 99 people that like it and one person that doesn't. Well, that one person that doesn't like it is going to have the biggest damn mouth about it, and they're going to be going around and talking a bunch of shit. And even though there's 99 people that like it, they might not even ever see or hear comments like that because they're content with it. So just because you hear one bad thing about
something,
a part or a kit or anything, make your own opinion about it. Talking shit about somebody, oh, I heard that this sucks or that sucks or whatever.
If you haven't ran it or known someone that has ran it.
Yeah, exactly. Then don't even say anything about it.
Your opinion is invalid.
Yeah, exactly. And like, it's hard because like there are a lot of parts out there and some are good and some are bad.
XP rods, top line, top tier.
I disagree. And I can say that because I know somebody that ran them. And it was this guy.
Yeah.
And he brought the coilover to me and he said I needed to weld this back together.
They're sure beginner, like if you just want to get into the scene real quick with some adjustable, Sure, buy some eBay spec max feeding rods.
Here's the deal. I will not purchase a set of max feeding rods. However, I'm not saying don't buy cheap coils and get it low, because,
Yeah.
I mean, you can get Racelands. They're okay. I feel like they're more okay on a daily. For a drift car, the spring rates are a little bit soft. Adjustable preload is important. The max feeding rods, some of them have that. The Racelands, some of them don't have that. I ran a set of Rev 9s. That's probably like, if max feeding rod was at the bottom, and there's Raceland and Rev 9, like they're up above max feeding rods.
That's like the starter pack, I will say, for like E36s.
Yeah.
Max feeding rods.
That's the thing, is it's, get serious on you. It could also be about safety.
Yeah,
like,
if
if that happened to him not on the track, on the street, it could have caused an accident.
Invest in quality parts.
Do you want to do a job twice? I mean,
Buy once,
cry once to a point. Would I say that you should buy Fortunatos or like something crazy for the first set? No, probably not. If you start with, tens or however you say that,
yeah,
or BCs is where I would start, to be honest with you.
Goated.
I know that it's $1,300 or whatever, right out of the bank for a set of those, and like that does suck.
They work.
But if you buy another set that's cheaper, like max feeding rods, you're gonna be dissatisfied, and then you're gonna have to buy another set, spend more money, and then do all the work again.
Exactly.
But like I said, I ran Rev 9s, so that was on my 240, and they did okay, so they can get you out there. Do I think you should drift on stock suspension?
Sure, go ahead. Just to get you out to the track, do it.
A couple times. Do it a couple times, and then save up.
Until you get the money.
Yeah.
Stock stuff, whatever. That's...
Yeah.
You have to start out with.
Will it handle bad? Probably.
Of course, yeah.
But
the car will never be dialed with stock anything.
if you get it out there, that's what's important.
Invest in quality parts.
Yeah.
That's all we have to say on that.
Yeah, I mean, let's see. You had that break? Last event, Anna's Amazon fan blade.
Yeah,
that
broke.
Thing's
a trooper, though.
It broke and it busted the radiator.
Fair.
That's a common problem on E36s.
To be fair,
if you have an E36 and you're starting off, just know you're going to break a fan blade. It happens.
And don't run it with a broken fan blade or no fan blades at all.
You'll blow your water pump.
Yep, that happened to me. Just be smart. Be smart. Go over the car. Bolt check it. Bolt check your car. Do all that.
That's a little hurtful, but yeah.
What?
Well, my ball joint nut.
You didn't bolt check it.
I did actually. I bolt checked it 2 events ago. I'm a little bit against bolt checks, to be honest with you.
Oh, Lord.
If you torque it down properly, it shouldn't come loose. However, shouldn't. However, you can use medium strength Loctite if you need to, and because you are drifting the car, going through more abuse, and if you have poly bushings and mounts and everything, yes, everything vibrates a little more.
Yep.
So yeah, you should probably check it out.
Yeah. Always do that. Simple maintenance. Change your oil after every event.
I try to do every event if I can. I'll kind of gauge how the event went. Like if I was really treating it nicely and stuff, maybe I'll go a couple events. But I really do try and change it every event because, I mean, literally the car just sees 8 hours. Well, not 8 hours. I guess it opens up at 11.
Damn
so,
near.
Okay, no, it sees like 6 hours of red line or just beating the snot out of it. And it's like, okay.
Run good oil.
Go, yes, I will say run good oil, but go buy your oil at Walmart. It's under $30 for a jug, and here it's $27. It's like, okay, $27 just to protect my engine, make sure I got some quality stuff in there. That's no problem to me.
Yeah.
I mean, I run Mobil 1, personal preference.
Valvoline.
And that's usually the other side of the argument.
I used to do Royal Purple.
I'm kind of against Royal Purple.
Fair.
Royal Purple is purple, obviously.
Yeah.
It's harder to see if the oil is dirty because it's already a dark color.
Yeah.
And whatever they added in that made it purple is not a lubricant. So you have other, like, they have additives that are unnecessary other than color, unless somebody can bring me some science that backs up the fact that what they add in there is also for lubricity. Then I don't want to.
I want to hear it.
Yeah.
So Mobile One or Valvoline?
Yeah.
VR130.
I do 1550 Mobile One full synthetic. That's just my preference.
That's good stuff.
Yeah. I mean, my car, I don't have issues with my car being too cold. If you live in a cold climate, and that might be a little bit much for the wintertime especially, but one of the downfalls of this car is the lack of like airflow. So I have some really high power fans on it that really pull air through, and I don't have any issues with it anymore. But this car without those fans, and my last car with stock fans, I did have overheating issues with that. So
Quit buying cheap quick releases too.
oh yeah, don't buy eBay quick releases.
Stop that. I don't care about the ding. Stop doing that. You're gonna wear out the balls in it, because once that starts wearing out, that wheel's gonna pop right off mid drift, and then it's really.
I have the ding one. I'm just
you
saying.
can have the ding. It'll ding if you put it straight on. Stop.
Yeah,
spinning
I put
the
it
stuff
on
around.
and then go click. It
Yeah,
doesn't.
that's fine.
I don't.
Yeah. It's pointless. Quit it. Leave it.
Yeah.
What are the cheap parts should you not buy?
Rep
seats.
Oh, okay. Don't buy the adjustable back, like racing seats. Like
Yeah, don't do that.
If that's what you want, and it's what you want in like a cruiser car, something like that, fine. But the lock for the tilt back is usually only on one side. So if you are like impacting a bunch and like being thrown around, eventually it's gonna snap, or it's gonna like bend back a little bit. I bought a set of used racing seats right when I got my Trans Am last time, just because like the stock seats were gross and I didn't want to have them in there. I picked up a cheap set, like $100 on Marketplace, and I sat in it, and it like sat crooked because it was bent a little bit. And then I forget, I think it was the passenger seat, eventually it broke a weld on the like frame of the seat. So then it was really leaning, and I was like, this is not safe. Like, I'm not going to do that. Shout out NRG Prisma. That's what I run in both of my cars. I like it. I think it's a good entry level seat. And I don't really have any issues with it.
Also, don't bolt your harnesses to your floor. The back ones.
Oh yeah, you're gonna die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Heard like you'll just snap your shoulders.
Yeah, if you are gonna run harnesses, buy a harness bar. They're not that bad. They're not that expensive. Yes, they're universal. Yes, you have to do a little modification to put them in. But don't bolt your harnesses to the floor, because if it's below your shoulder line, then you can have spinal issues and stuff in a crash, in an accident. It's just not generally safe.
It's that little fab part. Listen, if you're in drifting, get prepared to do some fab stuff, to make some modifications on
Yeah,
parts.
I mean, that's the thing, is even bolt-on parts sometimes require a little bit of modification. I mean, I feel like most people that are into drifting generally like to know about their car a little bit, but it's not necessarily all the time. I mean, some people just like to drive, and they have somebody else handle all their car mechanics and stuff like that. But that car didn't come from the factory ready to drift, so you are going to have to make some changes. If you have a convertible, get a roll bar, all right?
They won't let you on track without
Yeah.
one. So
Well, they have it some places, but I will say that my car still has a roof because it's just T-tops.
Yeah.
And a long time ago, if you asked me if I was going to put a roll bar in my Trans Am, I would have told you no, because it has a roof and I don't see myself flipping it. It's low to the ground. It doesn't lean a bunch, whatever. But then I see videos online of people biffing it, and they flip their car, and that's, I don't want anybody to get hurt. So if it's truly a track car, get a roll bar, I guess is what I'm saying. Mine will have one for multiple reasons. Obviously I don't plan to flip the car, but if it were to happen, I would be safe. But mine's a little bit more for like chassis support and structure as well. And putting in, I'm going to attach my harnesses to that, to the roll bar. But It's not nothing that is necessarily needed right away. If you have a full roof car, also, then you're okay.
Yeah.
I mean, the car has safety ratings and stuff from the factory. So unless you're going like really crazy, you should be okay as well.
Yeah. You're not competing or anything like that.
Exactly. But if you have any sort of like, if you have a target top on a Corvette or T-tops on whatever car,
Get a gauge.
Get a roll bar at least.
Roll bar, yeah.
And yeah,
You'll be alright. I think that's all the questions.
Yeah, that's good.
Dang.
long video.
It's great. They're gonna enjoy it.
Hope so.
They better. You will.
If it doesn't break 100 likes, I'm never gonna
100 likes
doing anything ever again.
Gosh. Only I have a video of 100 likes. 100
views.
100 views? Oh yeah,
100
lightweight.
views.
We got that. Actually, no, I've never done an hour-long video before, so much luck to you guys who watched this thing all the way through. And I've gotten a lot of views when this car is in the video, so I know you guys like it.
The first one had a little bit more, guys. Step it up a little bit.
But I really hope you guys enjoy this. This is my first time ever doing an interview. I feel like it went really well, and stay tuned for the next one. I really hope you guys liked this. If you did, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I'll be dropping Josh's Instagram in the... Oh, you don't want it?
No.
Never mind.
It's not in there.
I lied. It will not be in the description down below. Stay tuned.
If you want to see anything about the car,
me up, yeah.
hit him up. Hit him up.
If you have any questions, leave it in the comments. If you guys want to see more things like this, leave it in the comments. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a great night. Peace.